Are you asking your team to do more? Maybe it's be more engaged or take on more responsibility, or maybe it's to deal with more change. I think that's one that just about everybody is talking about. But here's another question for you. In what way have you offered guidance, support, or training so that your team can do more? And I don't mean sending an email that says something like, "New policy, this starts today," or running through a list of do's and don'ts, or what this new procedure looks like. Look, I get it. That's important. They do need to know if things have changed and what has changed about it. But those messages are rarely inspiring, and often they are written in a way that creates frustration instead of buy-in. What your team and what you really need in an environment where you are asked to be doing more is to take a step back and provide a concrete game plan for how your team can best communicate with you. Very specific, very concise, one sentence hints essentially on how you want your team to stay connected with you. Now, before you fire off an email that says something like, "Over communicate with me, check in every week, and tell me before there's a problem," I want you to think about whether A, that's really what you want, B, if you have time to respond to all the emails that you are going to get in your inbox as a result, and C, what would your response be if that's the message you got? Because while you know exactly what you were talking about, there's a lot of ambiguity and confusion that gets created when that's the message sent to your team. What your team really needs is to understand how you best listen and respond and give feedback. So what I'd like you to consider is spending 30 to 60 minutes really thinking about what you want from your team. Analyze how you want your managers, your leaders, and your team members to communicate with you. That means how many times should they check in during the course of the week? What information are you actually interested in? And what type of email will you respond to the quickest? Those are things that can help your team right now give you more. It'll increase productivity. It'll reduce the amount of time that you were spending back and forth in emails that, quite honestly, you didn't have time to read in the first place. Now, when you are thinking about this, I can think of 3 strategies borrowed from my 20 years in sports broadcasting that I know will help your team communicate more effectively with you. Maybe we should team up for a little bit of training. 75 minutes will get your entire team up to speed. Send me an email, Jen, Jen, at talksporty2me.com. And in the meantime, why don't you give your leadership team a head start and sign them up for the training that I'm going to do on February 25th. 75 minutes, we'll come up with a conversation game plan, and we'll get people on the same page so that everyone can do more in 2022.